Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AnxietyPilled.
Woo!
Yay! I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling pilled today. And right now we're filming an extra special bonus episode. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! So, if you guys remember, me and Bats, my legendary monarch Bats, we actually did the first 6 chapters, technically, of The Lady in Pink, and now we are doing, what is it, the last 5 today?
Yeah, the last 5 plus epilogue.
Yeah, so it's, we'll be doing 6, 7,
Oh my
8,
fuck
9,
sakes.
10, and then epilogue, so another 6 chapters today.
Yeah,
How are we feeling about that, guys? Why am I saying guys? It's only Bat King here. Hey,
yeah,
Bats. How are
yeah.
you doing today?
I'm doing great. After this recording, I might be dead, which is gonna suck for the Man with Fat episode I'm recording right after this, but we got this. Um,
LOL. All right.
but this is the price we pay when we want to give our audience an extra treat as a thank you for hearing us out with the trope talk, which our feedback seemed to be okay, interesting conversation. Where's the stories? Which that's fair.
That's
Um,
fair. People come for the stories. They do want the stories. Yes, indeed. Yes and dumb.
yeah. So all
Well, I
right.
mean, I personally, I kind of fuck with trope talks, but that's just me. 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 You know what I mean? So, you know, um, but yeah, we're just gonna be getting into Tina the Roses series again. And if you guys didn't check out the last video, I'd say you should probably check it out because
Absolutely.
you were like you're probably not gonna get the context that you would, um, unless you see the first 6 parts. You also get there's a clip in there of me, grossly mispronouncing.
Yeah.
Did you end up keeping that in?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh fuck. Oh, that's rough. Oh, if I ever get famous, that's gonna come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like 40, and they're gonna pull off that clip, and they're gonna say, "Is that you?" I'm gonna,
Yeah, is that you? You want some
yeah.
quasi?
Kisa con carne. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just say what I think it is spelt out as. Um, yeah. How we get to just get right into it. Sorry, my brain's still a little bit murky. I just finished a bit of work week, so I'm still like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I say let's just get into it.
All right. This is going to be the start of chapter 6, Reconciliation. Dad's truck pulled up next to me, engine grumbling like an old man. Dad got out.
Just want to pick something up before we leave.
Charlie looked up from her phone as we went back inside. Mason! She greeted him. Dad didn't say anything, but I noticed the corner of his mouth twitch upwards momentarily. Charlie gestured to me. Carla tell you what happened? Mason furrowed his brow and looked at me. I explained the situation. Dad growled.
I swear to fuck I've had it up to here with dumbasses taking swings at you. Please tell me you punched him back.
Did I punch a teenager in the face? I cocked a brow. Charlie snorted.
He's old enough to know better.
Dad scowled.
How old is he, Charlie? Like 15, 16?
17. Charlie rolled her eyes. But yeah, Carla's working for me now. Dad nodded.
Thank you.
There was a softness in the way he said that. One could mistake him for having actual emotions. Hey, your daughter's your fucking life savior. Charlie laughed. I can actually keep the place open 24/7 like I advertised. Dad chuckled and looked up to the gator head over the door.
Still impressed you kept that.
He said. The sight of it could send a shiver up me. I could almost imagine it growling. It was a childish emotion, but there was an instinctive fear within me that it would fall and close its jaws on my throat the moment I passed through the door. Hey, it's a good memory, Charlie snorted. Carla nearly pissed her pants when she saw one of those things up close. It's a dinosaur that forgot to go extinct, I protested, making Dad and Charlie laugh loudly. They were kind of assholes sometimes.
Anyways, I just wanted to get something.
Dad grabbed a 6-pack of beer and a bag of gator jerky. Buy one, get one on the jerky, Charlie said. Again, I looked around for the sign. She didn't mention that during quick training. Maybe it was just something she did for Dad? They weren't great communicators, so maybe this was their version of an olive branch or something. Soon, we left. When we got back home, Helen was lounging on a lawn chair in a pink swimsuit. She wore sunglasses, but I knew her gaze was on me. I could feel those hungry eyes like an overwhelming weight on my chest.
I'm grilling out.
Dad announced to the two of us, then glanced at me.
Want to invite Emily?
She's having dinner with her dad before she goes off to college, I replied, sighing. I didn't want to be reminded of her inevitable departure. Dad nodded. Thankfully, he didn't pry and just went inside. I went to follow him, but Helen gestured to me. I stifled a groan and walked over. She smiled up at me, asking,
Care to join me? The sun is glorious.
I cocked a brow. Beads of sweat were pouring down my body, and I felt like a melting ice cream. Strange, she didn't look like she was sweating. Helen looked pristine, like she was modeling for a magazine cover. Maybe she only just got out here? I'm fine, I replied, turning to go inside. Helen grabbed my wrist.
Come on, I'm lonely.
Helen pouted, pushing out her bottom lip dramatically. She sat up, the strap of her top sliding off her shoulder. Her leg brushed mine. Damn, her skin was smooth.
I could apply your sunscreen for you,
she added with a seductive tone.
Get it all over your body, every inch.
I'm fine. I felt my cheeks heat up. I swam yesterday, still have a bit of burn on the back of my neck. Helen sighed softly.
Another time, then,
she lamented before laying down back on the lawn chair. I rushed inside. The rest of the evening was mostly uneventful. Mom was still out, and I didn't know when she'd be back. Dad flipped burgers and grilled onions for Helen, and while he and I drank beer. Helen spent most of the night walking around aimlessly, so I was able to ignore her. After dinner, I checked my messages. Emily had sent a picture of the restaurant her and her dad had gone to. It was the Toppled Apple, a place where I got my first job in high school. The cooks were assholes who were more occupied with flirting with the waitstaff than doing their own prep work like they were supposed to. As a dishwasher, I mostly saw the back of house, so I forgot the dining room and outdoor seating area were quite pretty. Emily informed me that we were hanging out tomorrow, and that wasn't up for debate. I wasn't going to argue. I agreed and started getting ready for bed. I awoke to the cold sensation of cold metal on my fingertips. It took a moment for my vision to become clear. Before me was the door to Helen's room, a promising scent beckoning me to enter. I pulled away, shock and horror overtaking me. For the second time, I'd been sleepwalking, and I'd gone further than I did the other night. What the fuck was going on with me? Why did my sleepy body want to go to Helen? I went downstairs to have some breakfast. I wrestled with the idea of telling Mom and Dad, but for some reason I couldn't bring myself to open up to them about this. I tried to tell myself they were just busy with farm work and whatever was happening to Cinder and the chickens. Honestly, I think it was because I couldn't trust them. They made it pretty difficult to open up to them when I was younger. Sure, I became more open about my true identity as I got older, but even now I kept my innermost thoughts from them. After breakfast, Dad gave me a ride to Charlie's. Him and her had a short conversation about nothing in particular as I clocked in and started stocking the shelves. When he left, Charlie went home to sleep. I mopped a rather sticky area, checked the soda machine, and dealt with the occasional customer. During a lull in business in the early afternoon, I got an unexpected guest. Paul. The swelling in his eye was starting to go down. Part of me expected him to start a fight, but then I noticed he looked rather somber. Hey, he mumbled. Um, I just wanted to say that I was sorry for the other day. He was gripping the hem of his shirt nervously. I blinked in surprise. What brought this on? I asked. Paul shrugged. I don't know. I just got so angry when I first saw you. I don't know why. This was shockingly mature of the kid. I leaned against the counter and said, Look, I get it. Even before I realized I was a girl and started taking estrogen, I was pretty effeminate. A lot of kids at school used to accuse me of being effeminate, and I'd get really defensive because I was scared of them. I'm not scared of them, Paul retorted. I admitted. I was fucking terrified. So I hid my emotions, tried to act like I was everyone else. I made a lot of insecure boys question their sexuality. Wasn't anything I did. I just existed with good genetics. Took a lot of courage for me to realize and embrace who I was. So I understand the apprehension of finding someone like me attractive or being accused of being gay. I don't find you attractive, he snapped, and I'm not fucking gay. Then why are you so mad? Paul averted his gaze, unable to look at me. Uh, I don't know, he said. Look, I've been on estrogen since I was 13, I explained. I have the curves of a woman. Even if you don't view me as a woman now, the parts of me you found appealing were my feminine aspects, meaning you're still into woman. But you're a dude. You have a beard and everything. It was hardly a beard, but that wasn't the part you noticed first, was it? I, I guess not, he shrugged. And even if I was a guy, I'm a girl now. Trans is just a descriptor, like tall or short or whatever. Look, sexuality can be difficult, even if that sexuality is straight. It takes bravery to be yourself, so don't let your insecurities define you. Paul was staring down at his shoes, deep in thought. He didn't say another word. He just grabbed a bag of gator jerky and fished out his wallet. Buy one, get one, I told him. He smiled and left the store. After a while, I grabbed a coffee and texted Emily to pick me up. She arrived pretty quick and downed the can without a word. She had massive bags under her eyes. Hey, sorry, been up all night packing, she said. Just been too antsy to get any sleep. That's fine, I promised. Maybe you should take a nap when you get home. Emily frowned and looked at the steering wheel. How about I come by your house? She suggested. Need sleep. Let's watch movies and I'll use your lap as a pillow. Emily smiled at me. For real, I want to spend some time with you, short stack. Good God, that is a bad nickname.
Yeah.
Good God.
That is terrible. Also, while we're
while we're on a pause here, let's dissect everything that's gone down so far. Sorry, I just got into a roll there, but Jesus Christ, that is a bad nickname. Holy fuck. Oh my God.
All good. Wait, do we want to dissect now, or do we want to get these last two lines out and then dissect?
Oh God, I'm reading. Oh, these okay. I'll get these lines out. Tina the Rose, I really love this story. don't do this, please. I can't. Never use the word short stack again. That is a command. Please, Tina. Please hear me from beyond. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Oh God. Sorry, this is so bad. I'm just giggling. Okay. I snorted. Short stack? Hey, you're shorter than me, so that counts, Emily said. First, I'm gonna buy us some beer. Then we ride to Valhalla. Oh, there was literally only 2 lines left in that entire thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like...
Yeah, I honestly didn't realize. Okay, that's crazy. So how did you like that chapter?
I think it was nice. I think it was a nice break from the horrors. I mean, minus the little Helen bit, which, by the way, let's go back to, and why did my sleeping body want to go to Helen? She's doing some witch shit.
She's doing something freaky. What I like about this story in particular is that it's not just Helen. Like, okay, it's the dreams, it's the sleepwalking, it's Helen, and then it's like the chickens and the weird eye goop stuff, right?
And in between that, they're still just humans. Humans being humans and their problematic
Humans
and
being
good
humans.
sides.
Which, okay, the thing that's crazy is that, like, to me, when I was reading that, like, the whole segment where Carla's talking about, her experiences and, like, how sexuality is a spectrum, to me, I was like, oh, well, I already know this. Like, duh. Like, this is so obvious. But then I'm like, I have to remember, like, people just aren't as, like, chill with that, People just aren't as, like, in touch with that part of themselves. And I'm like, people should actually read this and just realize that it really does not matter what the fuck somebody is. Like, it's just a descriptor. Like, that's it. Really. At the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I do
Uh,
like that um they managed to talk and they managed to like Carla managed to get through to Paul and said the buy one get one, which is typically reserved for like family or friends. And like that's like or an
mm,
olive branch, a peace offering.
I mean, I get it, but I'm also like 17. Like, you should know better than that. I get, like, you might be struggling with your own internalized, like stuff. Like, I get it, but I'm also like, dude, like, this guy just got you fired and he's been nothing but a douche to you. Like, Carla, you need to fucking stand on business and say, like, sorry, we don't support transphobic people here. Sorry. That's just I can't. Like,
Yeah, and
I
like
don't know
if
how I
she
feel
did
about
do
that
that,
bit.
she had every right to do that.
Yeah,
But
she's better than me. She's better than
yeah,
me.
I do think it really shows Carla's character. While she would have every right to go fuck yourself, you're an ass, taking the time to dissect it and go, hey man, shit's complicated. I'm used to this. Um, I understand what's going
Yeah,
on. Let me help you.
I mean that the thing I didn't I mean, I didn't love this chapter. Uh to be honest, I think that this is probably my least favorite of the bunch, but we're just starting out, so it's a good warm-up chapter, I think. Um it is like a ramp-up chapter where it's like we get a break, but I'm also like, well, I don't want a break, Like, I'm 6 chapters in. I want to know what the fuck is going to happen. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah, I
expecting
do
some
think
crazy shit
our reading order
in
of
chapter
this
7.
of like last weekend we went and we did the first bit and then we had a week to forget it. And like I
Yeah.
think like last like where we ended off, this chapter would have been appreciated if we just went forward. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I
I
agree.
get
This isn't the strongest of chapters. However, Tina has been absolutely wonderful.
for
Both to
sure. This is a
talk
great story.
to
We
and
wouldn't be sorry. Sorry, that was me.
yeah, my
My
bad.
bad, my bad.
Yeah, she is great to talk to, a wonderful author. And I think had we just gone straight through, even though that would have been basically impossible, um,
Mhm.
I'm with you there on like this chapter doesn't hit as much as the others have.
I just the thing I have with, like, long form Reddit stories, and I think part of this, I mean, people know who Tenors is, so I'm just gonna call him Tenors. Mythic Bison Man, right? And he told me it's like the thing with Reddit stories is that people will much more likely click on your first part than they will on, like, your later stuff, right? So it's like you
Mm-hmm.
gotta get something that hooks people in right away. And the story has that. It has that hook. But I don't think that Reddit stories are the kind of stories that can have, like, a quiet chapter, unfortunately. Like, as bad as that is to say, I'm like, if you hook somebody in there, like, you have to keep them on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, like, this way, and I have this problem with reading where, like, if there's, like, a lot of stuff, like, over 100,000 words, right? If it starts to bore me, I just am like, okay, I'll cut my losses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, It's not a bad chapter. Sorry, it's just that's how I feel about this one. It's not bad at all from a technical standpoint. I just want to see some crazy shit go down. All right. Let's hope that Helen starts eating bitches. Oh, any predictions for what Helen is? Actually, I was gonna ask you that. That's what I was thinking about this week. What do you think Helen is?
I still think I still think she's a witch. She's a witch. Um and I god, it's still so creepy.
Well, it's creepy. It's so transphobic. But I'm also like, okay, the parents don't seem like she's gotta be doing something to everybody. Like, I wonder if she's got like a weird, like, I don't know, fucking pheromone or type shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think that she's kind of like a demon, right?
Ooh, yeah, that could
Maybe
be
like
it.
I don't even know if I'd use the word succubus, where I'm like, oh, it's like she's a sex demon, but this is definitely a demon who fucks, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like, even if it's not your main job, Helen gets cracked all the time. I'm betting you. Ugh.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Helen, do we want to get started with Chapter 7, Predator and Prey?
Ugh. Yeah.
Helen is a predator, bro.
She
This is
really
crazy.
is. All right. So, Chapter 7, Predator and Prey. We pulled up in front of the house. I glanced at Emily and said,
Hey, just beware. Helen is kind of a creep. She made a pass at me the other day. Did you tell your parents?
Emily asked, brow furrowing with concern.
Not yet.
I admitted.
You should.
Emily squeezed my hand.
Guess it's a good thing I'm here. Want me to spend the night?
I nodded. We stepped out of the truck and headed inside. Helen rushed over, squealing excitedly. She was wearing an extremely thin pink silk robe. She clamped her
God,
hand.
she's a slut.
But also,
She's
I
a
want her
whore.
wardrobe. I want her wardrobe.
Oh, she has a great wardrobe, but I'm just saying, you are staying at your friend's house. You need to not dress like a goddamn prostitute for a goddamn minute, okay?
Yeah, that
I'm
being
just
said, we
imagining,
support
like,
sex
I'm just
workers over
imagining her
here.
tits, like her tits are out. You can see her fucking bush or whatever. Like, lady, please, there are people in this house. Please, it's a great wardrobe though. It's like I love her look. She's so unapologetically just such a creep. I love her.
Yeah, I love her and I hate her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want her, but also, girl, get the fuck away from Carla.
Girl, get away from Carla, please. Carla does not need you anywhere near her. Get away.
Alright, she clamped her hands on Emily's cheeks. She squished her face and cooed, "Oh my gosh, is this the Emily that your parents have been bragging about? She is absolutely gorgeous."
I think she'd like to breathe.
I said, putting a hand on Helen's wrist and trying to pull her hand away from Emily. To my shock, her hand didn't move. It didn't budge an inch. Why the hell was she so strong? Was she another farmer's child or something?
No, she's a demon. Run, Carla. You must be Helen.
Emily winced, also trying to pull Helen's hands down, but having as much luck as I did. "Oh, Carlos has talked about me, huh? I hope he said nothing but good things." Helen pinched my cheek, finally letting Emily go. My friend's eyes were wide. She looked worried.
Nothing but the best.
I said, grinning as wide as I could muster. "That's good." Helen planted a kiss on my temple, then looked at Emily. "You should scoop him up while you have the chance, or I'll have to dig my claws in him." Emily's face was contorted into a look of abject terror. Helen giggled. "Only kidding. Jeez, Carlos, I wish you had told me we were going to have company, rude boy. What are we going to be doing tonight?"
Probably drink beer and watch anime.
I replied. "Oh, that sounds fun. I'll get some popcorn going." Helen said excitedly and rushed into the kitchen. I hate this woman so much. I hate her.
Like, she's such a freak, bro. like, girl, oh my god, like, you're not invited to the cool anime beer drinking thing. Oh my god. Also, prediction, when are we getting the Sesbian Lex between Emily and Carla? Question mark.
Honestly,
When is that happening?
with all that Carla said about Emily and like how she's been single her whole life, she doesn't seem to care. I'm kind of headcanoning Emily as Arrow Ace.
Oh, that's so valid. I'm always looking for Yuri when I can find. Oh, oh, oh. I'm always looking for it. I'm like, when is it gonna happen? When's that gonna be a factor in this story? When are we getting some Sesbian Lex? But
If there was
Emily,
smut, we
you do
wouldn't
you,
be able
man.
to have it here.
You do you do you, Emily. You be your own person. Oh, that's so. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm reading ahead.
Girl, stop reading ahead.
Okay, wait. Let's get into it.
Okay, so Emily shuddered.
Reminds me of my uncle who grabbed my butt when I was 15. Mom broke his kneecaps. Thanks for staying with me.
I said. Emily smiled. We sat on the couch, and Emily got Sailor Moon started. Helen soon came back with the popcorn, squeezing herself between Emily and me. Ugh! Helen offered us some, but only she ended up having any. I tried to ignore her, but I found myself staring at Helen. She wasn't wearing any makeup, yet she looked incredibly young. My eyes wandered around, looking for any scars that might indicate some kind of surgery. Perhaps I just didn't know what to look for, but I didn't find anything. I felt Helen wrap an arm around me, pulling me in close. Her thumb caressed my neck, and pleasurable shivers radiated through me. Her smell was intoxicating. My heart was racing. My eyes were transfixed on her. What was she doing to me? She looked at me, a sly smile on her face. There was something in her eyes, something that I both loved and was terrified by. It took a moment to put a word to it. Hunger.
Run! Run!
Yeah,
Get
run.
out of the building!
Get out, get
Leave!
out, get out.
Leave, 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 leave. I do think that there's some pheromone shit going on here.
Absolutely.
I think she might even be a bug lady. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm getting bad vibes right now. Oh dear Lord. Oh dear God. Oh shit.
I am uncomfortable with the energy Helen has created in the studio today.
Well, cause I'm like, this is kind of relevant. This is like that thing where it's that movie Obsession, right?
I've seen
Where
trailers for it.
and I'm not gonna drop any spoilers, right? But there is sort of a discussion that has arisen from that movie regarding like, okay, well if like it still is SA if you like make if it's like the only reason this person is doing this is because something that you have done or doing is making them. You know what I mean? And it's like even if Carla is saying like, "Oh, I loved the look." I'm like, "You did not before." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, whatever Helen is doing, it's definitely creepy because it's like trying to trying to make consent where there probably wouldn't have been any. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um, if something does happen, well, we'll talk about that road if we come to it, which I unfortunately think we might be coming to it. So that
Yeah,
will
I
be
am so
interesting.
scared right now.
I'm very nervous for how this is going to go. Oh dear
Like, I feel
God! All right.
nauseous right now.
I think that we are on. I forced my gaze forward.
Yeah, I forced my gaze forward, keeping my attention on the screen and trying to ignore the smell that was luring me in. Yeah, it is pheromones.
Yeah, I knew it. It's like a fucking. Oh, is Ellen? Is Helen just like the ultimate Omega then? Is she Omega maxing, and then Carla, as the alpha female that she is just like, ooh, I can feel a rut coming in.
Oh, I hope not. A few episodes.
Get out of your heat cycle now, Carla.
Run,
No,
you poor baby. A few episodes
Guys,
later.
if y'all don't know Omegaverse, get knowledgeable.
Yeah. What if we as the podcast host took the Omega quiz?
We should if I could pick any prompt for the next prompt contest, I would choose Omegaverse horror.
I don't I don't know how well that would work with the rules of our sub.
I'm howling.
Okay, let's
It's
go
so
back into this.
yeah. Let's get into this. Let's get in.
A few episodes later, my heart sank as I heard snoring nearby. I glanced over. Emily was asleep, draped over the arm of the couch. Fuck. Helen paused the show and stood up. She took my hand. Come on, sweetie. I want to go for a walk. I wanted to wake Emily up, to rush upstairs with her and lock the door. However, Helen's voice was tempting. With her other hand, she ran a nail along my jawline to my chin. I was enthralled. I stood up and followed Helen out the door. My heart was going faster and faster, my mind wrestling with the instinct to run and the desire to wrap my arms around her middle. What did Helen want from me? A dick. We walked into the woods. Soon, we were at the stream, where I first realized my identity. I instinctively looked over to the branch where Emily had draped her dress and ran my fingers over the bark. My pinky came to a deep gash. I couldn't see in this light, but it felt like an axe wound. I looked towards where I thought my swing would be. Moonlight broke through the canopy, revealing a destroyed plank and a rotten rope. The tree the swing had been secured to was slashed to hell. A rusty axe head protruded from the side. There were splinters of wood where the handle should have been. What had happened here? I think Helen did this. I don't know how to explain it.
I think Helen did everything. I think you can take any trap. Did Helen burn down the Library of Alexandria?
Possibly.
I think she's... Oh god, sorry. I keep reading ahead by accident. I read really fast and this is
no.
fucky.
Oh
this
no.
Is gonna be fucky wucky. Get into it. Just get into it.
This place looks beautiful. Helen clung to my arm, especially in the moonlight.
Yeah.
I agreed, trying hard to silence my pulse. Your heart is going so fast, Helen whispered. Her lips brushed my ear, and her warm breath was sensual. I had no response. It was all I could do to maintain control of my breathing and not gasp in pleasure. Helen stepped in front of me. Let's enjoy the water. It looks nice and cool. She pulled on the belt of her robe and let the garment fall to the ground.
Run! No, Carla, no!
I just need a second to take a deep breath.
Oh, you're gonna need to take a few seconds.
Her nude body seemed to glow in the light. She wasn't just beautiful. She was alluring to a level I'd never seen in my life. She was like a statue of Aphrodite made flesh. I wanted to touch her, to kiss her, to submit to her will. Helen inched closer, gripping my shirt. Her lips were so close to mine that I could almost imagine what they tasted like. I never wanted someone in my life as much as I wanted her right at that moment. But there was something off about my desire. It was like the difference between actually sleepy and how you feel after taking a sleeping pill. This wasn't right. It felt strange and artificial. Helen took a step back towards the stream, tugging on my shirt. Instinctively, I stepped forward. No, I didn't want this. I needed to escape, but my body would not obey. My will was being sapped from me. I followed this woman like a puppet on a string, our breathing becoming synchronized with each other. Helen licked her lips, hands sliding down to my shorts and unbuttoning them. I know you want me, Helen whispered. I can make you feel like a man. Which this part is very important. This is very important because
it's very well written. Like I can't be mad about this being in here. It's definitely important. I can tell that this is like done with a lot of thought, but that doesn't mean I have to enjoy sitting through it.
Yeah, I don't like sitting through it, but also this really shows that Helen is like the epitome of femininity, and like I feel like this is the insecurity that like no one's ever going to accept me as a woman, because femininity itself, conceptualized as a person, wants me, but as a man.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say she's actually like, the nature of feminine things, though. Because, like, Helen is a very vindictive and cruel person. Like, and also, Helen is currently trying to sexually assault somebody.
Yeah.
But I feel like that this is definitely, like, a projection of what some people in the world would want femininity to represent, which is like a hypersexual, unaging, childlike but too mature and almost to the point of like you assume there's been surgeries done to make her look this way. Like there's a very specific archetype of like this is a typical bimbo in appearance that is a mature, sex crazed animal that will also serve her man. You know what I mean? Um, why does Helen even want Carla though?
Yeah, I think
Like,
it might just be, as Helen is this quote unquote perfect femininity. Oh, you're not man enough, like not man enough because Carla's a woman. Let me make you a man. Like she says
I,
right here, I can make you feel like a man.
I think honestly we just read ahead and we stop when it's done and then we talk about it then. Just
Yep.
because I want to see what the rest of this entails.
I needed to run, but my body wouldn't obey. I needed to escape. Fuck, like the fuck couldn't I move? No, I couldn't do this. I couldn't let Helen do this to me. Please, God, help someone take me away from here. Then a distant voice called out.
Carla? Carla, where were you?
It was Emily. Helen's face contorted into a look of rage. Whatever was anchoring me to the spot faltered. Taking this moment, I ran as fast and as hard as I could. I ran without thinking, trying desperately to escape. A root tripped me up, but I didn't stop. I just got up and kept running. The branch scratched at my face and neck as if trying to hold me back. One branch slashed my healing burn. Ooh, sending waves of agony through me. I tripped again, and that smell grew closer. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end as I felt nails caressing my calf.
Emily!
I screamed at the top of my lungs. The scent vanished. I started running again, calling out for my friend. I heard Emily's voice in the distance. Soon, I erupted through the trees and into Emily's arms. I grabbed her hand and yanked her into the house, locking the door behind me.
What happened?
Emily asked, shocked.
Wait, isn't Helen still out there? She she tried to force herself on me.
I stammered quickly. I turned to her and Emily gasped. She pulled me to the bathroom and grabbed the first aid kit. I looked in the mirror. I've had branches scratch me before. They were shallow and hardly worth any attention. What covered my skin looked more like claw marks. They were deep and bleeding bad. Emily started tending to the wounds, eyes wide with fear. I hissed in pain as she dabbed alcohol on them.
What did she do to you?
Emily asked.
I think she drugged me.
I mumbled.
I fell a couple times when trying to escape.
Emily nodded.
I'm calling the police.
Emily said, pulling out her phone. She held it to her ear with her shoulder so she could continue looking after my wounds. She told the dispatcher what happened. After a few minutes, she hung up.
They'll be here in an hour.
When Emily had finished patching me up, we went up to my room. I locked the door and Emily closed the curtains.
We should be safe here until the cops show up,
Emily said. I sat on my bed, burying my face in my hands. It took Emily a moment to calm down for me to be able to tell her everything that happened in the woods. As I spoke, I watched the color drain from her face. Her shaking fist clenched tight until her knuckles went white.
I don't know what kind of drug she could have used.
She said.
I'm sure the police can. But I'm sure the police. Oh, wait, no, this is Emily. This is Emily saying this. Oh. Alright, let me restart that. I don't know what kind of drug she could have used.
She said.
But I'm sure the police can run some tests to find out.
We sat in silence for a good long while. Emily held on to me, rubbing my back gently. To be honest, I don't think I'd ever been as scared as I was in those woods. Not even Zach brought out such primal terror in me. Not even when I couldn't bring myself to finish that thought. I felt dirty. I clenched onto Emily's hand, trying not to hyperventilate. After what felt like too long, we saw a flashing light shine through the curtain. We went downstairs where Helen was talking to a pair of officers, an older woman and a man who looked fresh from basic training. The three of them were laughing. Hey there, you two. I don't know what northern accent
It's a
means.
thick northern accent. Oh, you want to know what I think this is?
What?
I think this is a Canadian accent.
Woo!
Woo!
Hey there, you two. The female officer said in a thick northern accent. I think her name was Pamela or something. I know she used to live in Maine. I'd seen her around town both on and off duty. Her civilian car had a Maine license plate.
And as everyone knows, Maine is the 14th province of Canada. So,
Woo!
This is confirmed Canadian story. Yes, yes indeed. Officer, she...
Emily pointed at Helen. We got the story. Everything is settled, Pamela said, waving her hand dismissively. Everyone is safe. That's all that's important.
Officer!
Emily gasped in horror. It was clear to us that the officers weren't listening. The younger was transfixed on Helen, his eyes wandering up and down her body. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Pamela turned to Helen. Ma'am, it's good to meet you, she said in a flirtatious tone. Helen smiled and held her hands out to them. Pamela and the younger one each took one of her hands and kissed it. Then they went into their car and drove off, kicking up dirt behind them. Emily and I watched Helen like hawks. The woman turned to us, tightened her robe around herself. It's getting chilly out here, isn't it? She asked, smiling softly. How about we go inside? Emily drew her revolver, aiming it at Helen's head.
Make another move, and I'll put a hole in you,
she snarled, pulling back the hammer. A sadistic smile spread across Helen's lips, baring teeth that looked a little too sharp. Have you ever killed a person, Emily? She asked with a small giggle.
Always the first time.
Emily's finger moved to the trigger, ready to fire.
Wait.
I took her free hand.
Let's go to your place, Em.
If Helen had gotten the cops off our case that easily, I didn't see us standing a chance if Emily took that shot. I didn't want to see her behind bars. Emily started pushing me towards her truck, gun aimed at the woman before us. That hideous smile was growing wider and wider. Eyes locked on Emily's with cruel glee, as if she didn't have a gun pointed at her. I clambered into the passenger seat and watched as Emily moved slowly to the driver's side. It was disturbing to see how unbothered Helen was. There was no fear in her, just hatred and hunger. Emily got inside and kicked the truck to life. I looked at Helen one final time. She was wiggling her fingers at me. We pulled away and headed to Emily's house.
That great chapter. I was so uncomfortable, though. So, and that's the point. You're meant to be so freaking uncomfortable with what the hell this bitch is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? This changes my mind on chapter 6. I think we needed that. We needed that chapter.
Here's my thing, right? I have a different thing. It's not like I haven't done stories with themes of like sexual stuff. I mean, the first story I ever posted was meant to be this kind of horror where it's meant to make you uncomfortable. I just want Helen to get such a comeuppance, and that's going to determine how I look back at this story, is what the author decides to do with Helen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am so hoping that Helen gets absolutely fucked up.
I mean, I hope that that's what happens. I just don't know if that is what's going to happen. I don't know if there's gonna be some weird sex thing that goes on, and I get it's a horror book. I like a good old happy ending, you know what I mean? But when it comes to, like, sex abuse in stories and stuff, there is a line that I draw where it's like, if you don't give your villain, if you don't make your villain come up with a pretty fucked up. Yeah, is it real that in like a lot of real world scenarios, like predators like this can get away with that stuff? For sure. But I'm like, I think that there's something very disturbing about Helen that has really, like, resided within me. And it is going to. This chapter will impact how I view the other ones. I just need to see what they end up doing with Helen, what her motivations are. Like, I don't know, they're walking a fine line with Helen here with between her being like a genuinely interesting character or her just being like a weird sex offender. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but like with this one, I even though it's been kind of hinting at like Helen's into Carla, Helen's into Carla, Helen's into Carla from the beginning, it was still like holy shit. And I think it was, mind you, I have no experience with the matter, so I can't say for sure, but I believe that this was written well because I feel nauseous about this. Like I feel absolutely like genuinely sickened and disgusted by Helen's actions, and like that I think was the desired effect. So like it was well
I
written.
Yeah, it was definitely well written. It's just especially in horror, I feel like a lot of newer authors what they end up doing is like they'll have this terrible sex offending case where it's like you're using somebody's sexual assault to show how horrific your monster character is. It's very what the fuck is his name? It's like that Taffy guy. What the fuck is his name? Do you know who I'm on about?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're on about.
And I love Elias Withrow, the guy
Yeah,
who wrote that stuff. He's a big inspiration to me, right?
yeah,
But a problem I always have with it is that it feels like that the fucking wait, I need to search it up. I'm so sorry. This is gonna kill me. What the fuck is his name?
it's Tommy Taffy.
Tommy Taffy. Thank you. I feel like that's some of the issue I have with Tommy Taffy is that it feels like that the only reason why they made like the author made Tommy Taffy like a rapist because he is. I don't know if we're gonna bleep that. Am I allowed to say that on the pod or do I
Yeah,
have to say it?
yeah, because if there's that stupid euphemistic like grapist,
Oh,
I'd have to shoot myself.
so should I say? Am I allowed to say the full thing, or should I say the modified version? Sorry, you kind of cut out there.
Oh yeah, no, no. Say the full thing. And honestly, I
Right.
feel like this episode, if we were monetized, this episode wouldn't be monetized.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
We might have
But
to 18 plus this one.
yeah. What I will say is that like making Tommy Taffy a rapist doesn't feel like it actually has any narrative meaning or any theming. It just feels like, oh, look how scary this guy is. He's raping children. And it's like there's definitely people out there who do that in real life and who are monstrous and horrible, but when you are making a character, you have to consider why they're doing said actions. And if you're just having this character be a sexual predator just because, ooh, that's scary, then I don't think that's you being a good writer. I think that that's you using people's inherent, like, hatred towards this event, and this sort of thing as just like a scapegoat to make them hate the villain. And that's just not interesting to me, and that's just not good writing. So whatever Tina does do with this character will impact how I view the rest of the story.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Tina. Like Tina's handled
Mm.
every single sensitive subject in this so well so far that like I have no doubt that
For
Helen's
sure.
going to
For
get a
sure.
good
I'm not trying to
comeuppance.
shit on Tina with any of this. I'm just giving a different perspective on this because I mean there's gonna be like 100 people watching this. Have fun dealing with me.
Yeah.
Um, but like inform the people. Y'all, if you guys are writing, please don't just add weird sex stuff unless there's a reason. Okay? Please. That was a good chapter though. That was good.
Yeah, absolutely sickening. Let's go on to chapter 8.
Chapter 8. Oh, it's called Consequences. Uh-oh.
I
Uh-oh.
I so hope it's consequences for Carla or not Carla. Carla's been through enough. Helen, I hope
It's
it's
chapter 8, man. I think that it's I don't think that it's gonna be consequences for Carla. I think that this is gonna be the fucky wucky chapter, and not in the fun way, or maybe in the fun way, maybe.
We'll
Maybe.
just have to see.
Who knows? Okay. Ahem. Jesus fucking Christ, kid!
Char-
Charlie gasped.
oh wait,
I
that's
just
you.
called and explained to her the situation. We were on speaker. I can't think of what drugs she could have given you, and trust me, I know a lot of them. I'm pretty sure she got Emily as well. I can't think of when, Emily said, putting some stuff in a cardboard box and closing it up. Most of her belongings had been put into boxes by this point. I didn't have any of the popcorn she made us, and I was sitting between her and my beer the whole time. It might have been through some kind of skin contact, Charlie said. Like she had you touch somebody she probably laced with some kind of fucking drug. I've heard human traffickers like to place cards laced with fentanyl on people's cards so they pass out and can be kidnapped easier. It's probably something innocuous, something you wouldn't have thought twice about. Emily and I shot a glance at each other and shrugged. Then an idea came to mind. Maybe she painted her nails with something? I suggested, pulling back the curtain just enough to peek outside. My eyes searched the darkness for any sign of pink. Unlikely, Charlie said. If it's on her nails, she'd be feeling the effects too. I'd ask some of my contacts, see if they know the symptoms. You two get some sleep. I'll get the place ready for you, Carla. When Charlie hung up, I saw her. Dog!
I'm so
This
scared.
is scary! This is scary!
Quote that
Oh
Alex
my
Jones video. You shut the fuck up. I'm so fucking scared right now.
god. Oh! When Charlie hung up, I saw her. Helen was standing down below us, staring up at me with that obscene hunger. She stood out like a stain of pink and yellow in a sea of dark greens, blues, and blacks. Her fingers flexed unnaturally, her grin growing wider. It was almost like she could start climbing the walls to get at us. Terror kept me in place as I contemplated what she could possibly want from me. Zach did many horrible things to me, but deep down I knew he would. I knew nothing he did would hold a candle for whatever Helen had in mind. Mm, I'm gonna put a note on that. I'm gonna talk about that later. I will talk about that later. All right.
I mean, before more shit happens, let's talk about it now.
I don't know if I like that. I know I'm being a bit critiquey for this story. Um, but I feel like that if you are going to be talking about like abuse in relationships and abuse, sexual, physical, and mental, like I feel like that does warrant criticism. In some way, like that does warrant a bit of a harsher lens. I don't know if I like that right there.
Yeah, but then
You know what
again, it's been consistent because, like, she said this about Zach.
Zach threw a pot of melting cheese on her.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I
also
mean? And
Helen is.
Zach did. It is implied. I'm not sure if it's explicit. I can't remember because it's been a while. But like Zach did essay Carla, did he not?
Yeah, he did assault her in
It's
multitude of ways.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that one. It's like Zach was a pretty fucking wretched guy here. All right, let's not downplay that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's not downplay it, but at the same time, we're starting to see because, like for example, like with the phrasing going back to like chapter 7,
Mm.
her face contorted into one of rage. Like we're
Yeah.
seeing a
So
bunch of
what
shit.
is she?
Like this isn't Zach wasn't as bad. This is Helen is otherworldly, supernaturally monstrous.
I will give my I will give my full critique. I just figured I'd make a note of that just because I'm like, and this is again for the future. It all depends on how Helen's character is done, right? And I would do this for any sort of story that involves this stuff, just because it's like, well, I find there's a difference between like a bit of a more jokey story and a story like this. You know what I mean? So that
Mm-hmm.
warrants a different level of how I view this story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to be Debbie Downer. Let me continue here. Okay. After we stared at one another for a few minutes, she started backing away slowly. Soon she turned and walked through the woods. As she got closer, she began to move on her hands and knees like a canine. Her hair slouched off like a wig and she vanished in between the trees. I told Emily about this. Needless to say, she looked stressed upon hearing the news. She nervously flicked at her nail on the plastic button of her shirt and chewed on it too. I couldn't blame her for being freaked out. I squeezed her hand, trying to comfort her. She seemed to relax a little. I'll crash on the couch, I said. No! You're sleeping in here where I can keep an eye on you, Emily insisted and tossed over a nightgown. Here, for you to sleep in. I blinked in surprise and held it up. It was purple silk and very soft. Doesn't seem like the kind of thing you'd wear, I said. It's not, Emily admitted, grabbing a shirt and basketball shorts for herself. I got it a while back to see if I'd like it, but it just wasn't my style. You can keep it if you want. You sure? Absolutely, Emily replied. We got dressed. I ran over to the full-length mirror, examining myself in the gown. It clung to my figure beautifully. I ran my fingers along my shoulders, trying to feel myself in this look. However, little things were pulling me out of it, such as little black dots on my chest where my chest hair was beginning to grow back in, and the unmistakable bulge poking through the silk. And yet again, that stubble. That constant fucking stubble that I could never get rid of no matter what I did. I didn't really feel like a woman right then. I felt like a boy playing pretend. I felt ugly. My eyes watered, and I had an overwhelming desire to tear the thing off and throw it across the room. Emily came over and wrapped her arm around my middle, resting her chin on my shoulder. You look gorgeous. Bullshit, I sighed. I'm not. I'm just... Don't be insulting my best friend like that, Emily said sternly. She turned me to face her, staring at me with an intensity of her eyes. I wouldn't let anyone else get away with that. Why would I let you do it? You're gorgeous. Deal with it. I was taken aback. Emily pulled me over to the bed and we sat down. She started stroking my hair. It was comforting to have someone like Emily with me, but I wouldn't have her much longer. She'd be leaving soon. I felt so alone all of the time, even with people around me, but with Emily, I didn't feel like I was in that fight by myself. I think we should get some sleep, Emily said, ruffling my hair. I nodded. She leaned back and added, Look, I need to go into Austin tomorrow and do some stuff for college that they won't let me do online. Think you'll be okay without me? I should be, I said. Emily turned the light off and snuggled up next to me, her arm around my middle. She rested her forehead against the back of my neck. She was warm, comfortable, and made me feel safe. I put my hand on hers, closing my eyes, and slowly drifted off. All right. What I will say, that whole segment, very well written. I really like that.
Yeah.
I really did. I think that the author definitely, because Tina the Rose is trans femme herself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, like, I can definitely see some of the lived experience in this story. Like, obviously, because Carla is also trans feminine, but, like, those moments just really show, like, this is a very, very rich piece in that regard, and I really, really enjoyed that. What are these bitches doing, though? Go to Austin with Emily, okay? Stay away from the sex criminal. Please.
Yeah.
Please, guys.
Yeah,
Please.
but also I really love just how sweet Emily is, but also how honest this is. Like there's like I find especially if you are not the how should I say this, default settings, there is a like politically correct way to refer to yourself. That's like almost a little like toxic positivity.
Yeah.
And like this is kind of like, no, this is what I feel sometimes, and I am allowed to feel that.
Which I do enjoy. Can I just say I already know Emily's about to die. I know.
I hope
Haven't read
she
ahead. Just
doesn't.
that,
I'm gonna cry if she
no, but you know
does.
what? That is why I'm guessing that they're not gonna have Carla go up to Austin. Even though it's stupid that Carla wouldn't go up to Austin because it's like, okay, you literally almost got sex criminal. Like, dude, you almost got assaulted, literally last night. Like, why are you going back to your parents' house?
She also has Charlie though, and Charlie's military.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think we'll just get right into it. Oh my god. Yeah, but that was a great section. So good job, Tina the Rose. You deserve all the prompts for that stuff. You
Yep.
deserve all the congratulations.
This is still you, bestie.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The next morning, we got ready quickly and headed back to my house. Mom's car was back, and my parents were waiting on the porch. As Emily's truck pulled up, Mom stormed over, shouting a half a dozen different Spanish expletives.
You were supposed to keep Helen company.
She snapped. Dad was standing on the edge of the porch, arms folded and a noticeable scowl on his face. Mom smacked my shoulder.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm just dropping by to grab my stuff, I said. Mom's mouth dropped open in shock.
You you just got here.
She said. She glanced at Emily.
Wait, are you two?
No, I'm going to be staying with Charlie, I replied.
What? Why? What aren't you telling us?
Mom asked, eyes beginning to water. I thought back to the cops the night before. Would it be worth it to tell her, or would it be a waste of breath? I didn't know if Helen would have done something to influence them, or if they just wouldn't listen to me, irrespective of Helen. It's just. Charlie calls me Carla, I said. It was only one of the reasons, but it was certainly one of them. Not once since I had come back had either of them used my chosen name. Hell, Mom barely even used my birth name since I came back.
Mija. I'll get your stuff.
Dad grunted.
I'll drive you to Charlie.
I got it, Emily said. No, you got college stuff. I glanced her way. I'll see you when you get back. No, you won't! No, you won't! Because she's never coming back! Alright. Emily frowned, but kissed my temple. Tell me when things are all set, she instructed. She got into her truck and drove off. Dad went in and came back with my duffels. He threw my stuff into the bed as I gave Mom a huge hug. She clung on, not wanting to let me go. She made me promise to come back if I ever got hungry. Soon, Dad and I were off. I leaned in my seat, letting the uncomfortably warm Texas morning blast me in the face. My mind was numb from exhaustion. The idea of telling Dad about last night crossed my mind. I didn't know what to say, though. The idea came to me that if Helen was drugging Emily and I, then perhaps she was doing the same to Mom and Dad. I looked at him, really looked. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing muscular forearms. Veins popped from underneath the skin, and his hands looked like they could crush a boulder. His face was different, though. Loose skin hung from his neck, creating a shallow pit where his Adam's apple should be. His face was slightly more firm, but he had many dark circles crawling up his cheeks to his receding buzz cut. For some reason, I remembered him being so much younger. And his eyes. They were tired, just like mine, but there was another emotion behind them. Something I almost didn't recognize from this man. Sadness.
You okay, kid?
Dad asked, breaking my concentration. He wasn't under Helen's effects. He was just showing signs of age. I saw the tree, I said. Last night, Helen and I went to the stream where my swing used to be. Dad's lips went thin and his brow furrowed. He sucked the inside of his mouth, making a loud noise. He seemed to be stalling. He sighed and explained.
I tore it down after you moved out. I was upset. I regret doing it.
Another pause, and then he added,
I shattered my hatchet when I did it. Threw it in the woods in frustration.
Are you okay? I asked, concerned. I'd seen him angry before, especially when he was tearing my room apart looking for my pills, but the idea of him completely losing his shit like that was such a foreign concept to me. To my surprise, he reached out and squeezed my hand and said,
I'm better now.
He only squeezed my hand like that a few times in my life. The first time was when I went on my first date. The second was when I graduated high school. The third was when I had my first drink, or my first drink that he knew of. The final time was when I got my first job. One was always the more physically affectionate one. After how we parted, I couldn't imagine him missing me. I gave him a smile. Dad let out a heavy sigh and said,
You know, my father absolutely hated your mother.
He almost never talked about his family. Hell, he rarely talked about anyone from his past apart from war stories. Why?
He was a racist old fuck.
Dad sneered.
He used to talk about how the brown people were taking away what belonged to us, our jobs, our land, everything. He actually forbade me from learning Spanish. He said it was a dirty language. Mom divorced him as soon as I joined the army, and I never attended his funeral. He died a lonely, sad old man.
Why are you telling me this?
Because lately, son, I've been looking in the mirror and seeing his face.
Dad admitted. I was in absolute shock. He'd never been this open and honest with me. I didn't know if he could be. What an irony that you married Mom then. I chuckled. Dad smirked. Maybe I should tell him? I took a deep breath, then said, Helen tried to seduce me last night. Dad blinked in surprise, then a slight smirk spread across his weathered lips.
And did it work?
I held my legs up to my chest. In a way, but no, I explained. I don't find her attractive, but I felt this pull to her that felt wrong. I think she drugged me, Dad. I think she was trying to rape me.
I don't think she did.
Dad replied.
I think what happened was you felt attracted to a woman and you don't know how to handle it. You're just becoming normal again.
Die! Die!
I
Die
hate this,
in a
I
fire!
hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this!
Die in a fire! Alright, any love that I had for Carla's dad, get put in a goddamn industry fire, turn into fucking Freddy Krueger, and then get a fucking die. Meat grinder, meat grinder. Wow, okay, we'll talk about this later. I'll get back into it. Sorry, I'm just holy fuck.
Yeah, fuck, I can't believe it.
Great job, Tina. Tina is great at making me hate these fucking evil bitches. Holy fuck. What a douche. Oh my god, okay. I went numb. Breathing became difficult. What?
Look, women like Helen don't need to drug people.
Dad continued, his voice taking on a hopeful tone. He turned the wheel and pulled into Charlie's parking lot.
She's a beautiful woman. Maybe you just didn't find the right girl until now. I could have sworn Emily was that woman, but who knows? Maybe he'll start acting like a man again.
How could I be so fucking stupid? All that bullshit about seeing his racist dad in the mirror, they were just words. Empty fucking words like what Zach used to say all the time. Dad didn't change, not like I had hoped he would. How could I have gotten my hopes up? Without a word, I got out and grabbed my bags. Dad was staring at the steering wheel, having never looked so old. He was a hollow husk of a man. Anger left me. I couldn't be anymore. That fire had just been extinguished. All that remained was disappointment. He was a smart man. He should have known better. Maybe somewhere deep down he knew that. I flung my bags over my shoulders and turned to go inside. Through the glass door, I saw a foot poking out from behind a shelf. It was horizontal. I dropped my bags and rushed in. Charlie lay there, eyes glossy, her face pale as morning fog. A ragged gash ran across her throat from ear to ear. It was so deep that I could see a hint of white peeking through. Even at a glance, the blood was viscous and sticky. This happened last night.
Viscous and sticky.
Viscous and sticky. The blood was viscous and sticky. This happened last night. The murder weapon wasn't too far away, a simple serrated steak knife. My heart shattered when I heard my father wail. His sobs crashed through the quiet. He rushed to Charlie's side. I tried to hold him back, but I didn't have the strength. He kneeled next to Charlie, holding her to her chest, his face contorted into an expression of anguish I had never seen from him before. I wrapped my arms around him, trying to offer some amount of comfort to him. My own tears mixed with his as he grabbed onto me for support. I held him as he broke down. His cries echoed in my ears. It was so loud I almost didn't notice another person sobbing. Dad noticed too. He screamed,
"Who's there?"
Wet, plodding footsteps. From around the corner, a terrified boy stepped into view. It was Paul. His bloody cheeks were streaked with tears. His red hands shook. She made me. The blonde lady, he said, in a trembling voice.
I can't fucking believe it.
That was
what
gas.
The fuck do you mean?
That was gas.
What the fuck
Tina,
do you mean Charlie's dead?
Tina, you had me out. I was on the outskirts for right back in. I am on the highway now. God damn, this is good. Ooh, this is some good food. All right, this is some good cooking.
God damn, this almost had me cry because, oh my god, maybe Dad's coming to understanding. Just to be whipped away to the woods.
I was not expecting Charlie to die. Not. And for Paul to do it. With that, oh my god, it's actually quite gas. It is quite good.
I love this. I hate it. I love the writing. But I hate it.
I love how much I hate this. I hate Charlie. I hate Charlie's murderer. I hate Helen so much. My points with Helen still stand, I think, but we'll see later. But definitely praising right now how it's gone about it. And then that whole thing in the car was just so expertly done to me. This whole chapter was just great. This was a great chapter. It was great for Emily. It was great for Carla. It was great for Mason. That's Charlie's dad. Not Charlie's dad. That's Carla's dad's name, right? Yeah. Fuck, it's just a good fucking chapter. That was great.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe you'll start acting normal again? What the fuck, man? Oh.
Maybe you'll start acting like a man again. I swear to God. And look, women like Helen don't need to drug people. This is exactly why men don't come forward when, like, Carla's a woman. Carla's a woman 100%. But when it comes to a lot of male victims,
there's a stigma around. Well, okay, I'm part of the Invincible fandom, right?
Yeah.
I'm like a casual Invincible fan. Mark Grayson, main character, is going to be probably one of the very few mainstream, like, medias that actually depict a man getting sexually assaulted by a woman. But when it comes to female perpetrators, the expected, like, so many people just think, like, oh, well, the man could have easily overpowered the woman in this scenario, and it's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Oh my god. Fucking, this is crazy. I honestly, I just kind of want to get into, like, I want more movie.
Yeah, let's just keep going. Keep going. But I hope this makes them realize that Helen's fucking evil.
Yeah, the fucking blonde lady made me do it. Oh, jeez! I wonder who that could be! Oh my god.
Chapter 9, The Jaws Shut Close. The setting sun slowly vanished behind Charlie's store. The flashing blue and red lights of the police cruiser shone brighter in the darkness. I wrapped my blanket tighter around my shoulders. I wasn't cold, but it gave me some level of comfort. Dad had been taken to the station to answer some questions and help them get in touch with Charlie's next of kin, leaving me here alone. Nearby, livid Spanish curses were flung at officers. Mom was trying to get behind the police tape, a pile of clothes under her arm. The officers were trying to calm down my mom, but she could be a raging bull when she wanted to be. An older officer came over to me, letting me know I was free to leave. He glanced at Mom, a grin peeking out from under his thick mustache. He chuckled a little before walking off. I went over to Mom. "Mija!" Mom gasped. "Mia, I'm so sorry for what happened." She took my hand and pulled me to her car.
How's Dad?
I asked. I don't know. I've never seen him like this before. Mom's words were soft and full of worry. Maybe it was because of the streetlights, but she looked much older than I remembered. Her wrinkles stood out in contrast, and I noticed how papery her skin felt. Mom almost looked frail, like a stiff breeze could send her to Oz.
Alright, just a pause. She's fucking sucking the life out of them.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, she's going... She's fucking getting in there. Now, is she doing this through sex? Is there some weird throuple action happening between Carla's parents and Helen that we are just unaware of? Is this, I'm not sure, but she definitely is, like, drinking their life force and stuff. They're aging so fucking quick here, and they're becoming so frail. Alright? Just pointing that out here. Let me get a drink, and then we'll get into this.
Yeah.
Are you going to be okay, Mommy?
Te amo, mija. Mom smiled. I'll be okay, I promise. I'm more worried about you. She handed me what she had brought. The clothes I had worn that morning were covered in blood, thus had been confiscated as evidence. I was wearing scrubs and desperately wanted to be rid of them. I asked Mom to bring me something to change into. But what she brought was surprising. She'd brought me a dress.
I thought you didn't approve of this,
I said. I don't, but it was the first thing I grabbed out of your dresser. And I didn't want to make a fuss. Not this. Mom gestured to the crime scene that surrounded us. I slid the garment up my legs and under the shirt, then tucked my arms into the shirt and slipped my arms into the straps. When everything was in place, I discarded the scrubs. Mom looked at me like she'd never seen me before. A chuckle escaped her. I remember pulling that move right before prom. Mama and Papa didn't want me going, so I was pretending to go to the movie with friends. I changed into my prom dress in the school parking lot, just like how you did now. I smiled a little. We got in the car and I checked the back seat. Cinder's cage was there, but she wasn't.
Where's Cinder?
I asked. My friend is still running tests, Mom replied, turning the key. Cinder isn't sick. She doesn't have an infection. We just don't know what's wrong with her. I'm tempted to bring in the chickens as well. She nervously shot a glance at me. Look, I'm going to have to pick up your father and your stuff from the police station once I drop you off. Are you going to be okay alone for a bit? I desperately wanted to ask her or take me with her, that I didn't feel safe in the house alone with Helen. However, Dad's response to me telling him what Helen did to me was fresh in my mind. Him and Mom were peas in a pod. I knew if I said something to her, she'd tell me I was overthinking things. She'd tell that Helen was trustworthy and her childhood friend. So I lied.
Oh, sorry. Got a notification. I'll be fine.
I'd need to figure out how to keep my distance from Helen. Mom nodded, though I got the distinct impression she didn't believe me. After a few minutes, she asked, So, about Emily? I know you keep saying you two aren't dating, but that kiss earlier...
Okay, you're so right. She definitely is Arrow Ace Queen! Arrow Ace Queen Emily! Let's go. She doesn't seem to want a romantic or sexual connection.
I began explaining. It was an exchange I'd rehearsed with my shampoo bottle about 100 times.
However, she does enjoy physical affection.
That's what a boyfriend is for, though.
Are you saying she doesn't deserve physical affection?
I asked. Mom grimaced. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But if she wants it, she should get a boyfriend.
But she doesn't want one.
I replied.
So would you condemn her to a life without physical affection just because she doesn't want a boyfriend?
Mom looked uncomfortable. She tended to get this way when she knew she was losing an argument. She got this way whenever she and I talked about me being trans. When she was backed into a corner like this, she'd break out a Bible verse as if his word would shut down any argument I could have. That didn't happen this time. Instead, she changed the topic. Can I ask you a question? I nodded. Why do you hate your name? I blinked in surprise.
Huh?
You want to change your name. Why do you hate the name that we gave you so much?
Mama, I went from Carlos to Carla.
I snorted.
That's not really changing my name, that's just feminizing it.
Mom bit her lip, brows furrowed. I'd never thought about it like that.
I don't hate my name. I promise.
I smiled at her, trying my best to console her in some way. Mom returned the gesture, and soon we were home. We gave each other a quick te amo, and she drove off. I was hesitant to go inside. I didn't know if Helen was inside, but I also didn't know if she was in the woods. She walked in the night before like a wild animal. Was she out there watching me? Wait, was she the thing I saw when I first came here? No, that couldn't be true. She came here via plane. But then, why did she look so much like that creature? I swear that if she hadn't been wearing that dress the night before, she'd look exactly like what I saw. I took a deep breath and stepped into the house, checked if the coast was clear, and rushed upstairs to my room. Once I'd locked the door, I called Emily to let her know what had happened. The phone rang and rang, but no response. Oh God. Soon it went to voicemail. I called again. Again, no response. I was getting worried. I'm so scared. I knew she had to do stuff for college, but surely she was done by now. Maybe she was on her way back now. If she was driving, she wouldn't be able to text. Yeah, that's it. I paced quickly, going from one wall to another as I watched my phone with bated breath.
Come on, come on, come on.
I mumbled like a mantra. The scent seeped from under the door. The handle rattled, and that sickly, sweet voice spoke sensually. Carlos, let me in.
It's Carla!
I shouted, having had enough of this. There was a pause, then Helen's voice grew deeper, more cruel. They'll never accept you as Carla. They see you as their little boy, the same little boy that Mama would tell stories to so that you could sleep nice and sound.
Leave me alone!
I shouted.
You made Paul kill my friend. You've done enough. Just go.
It must be so tiring to always have to justify your every feeling to them. Helen continued, ignoring my plea. Always having to argue with them every time you want to wear something that makes you feel pretty. It was true. I was tired. So many years of my life had been wasted just trying to get them to understand me. However, their worldview was set in stone, and I didn't have the tools to help them break free. I knew I didn't owe them such patience, but I wanted more than almost anything. For my parents to love me for who I was. I love them. In spite of everything, I love them with all my heart. I just wish they'd love me too. They don't love you, they love Carlos. I could hear her run her nails along the wood of the door. They want their son back, and I can help you. I went to the bed and covered my head with the pillow, trying to stifle her words. However, she kept talking as if whispering directly into my ear. I can make you feel like the man they want you to be. I didn't give her an answer. She said, I'll let you think about it. You know where to find me, my dear. The scent was gone. Charlie was gone. Emily would soon be gone. They were the ones who loved Carla. Zach, I didn't want to think about him. My loneliness was deep and overwhelming. It felt like I was drowning in a river. It was hard to breathe. Tears burned my eyes. Maybe I should give up. Maybe I should surrender myself to her. I closed my eyes, allowing myself to drift off. When I awoke, I was in front of Helen's room, holding the door handle. I felt somehow not a part of my own body. The cold metal in my hand felt strangely distant. That sweet scent awaited me on the other side. The promise of Helen's warm embrace made me slowly turn the handle. She was on the bed, skin glistening in the moonlight shining through the window. I stepped forward, that smell pulling me in like a lure. She wrapped her arms around me, pulling me on top of her. Her lips mingled with mine, tasting like the juiciest strawberry I had ever eaten. "Don't make a peep, my dear," Helen whispered, hungry eyes glistening. "Your parents are home, and we don't want to wake them." She was everything I had ever imagined. She was soft, tender, and warm. I needed her. I needed to belong. Carlos needed to belong. He was standing in front of a bonfire, burning whatever of his clothes the police didn't have as evidence. Nearby, the dying squawks of his chickens rang out. Carlos looked over as Paprika watched him, wobbling weakly. Many of the others had already fallen, gunk pouring out of their eyes. Paprika landed against the wired mesh. Her breathing was heavy and labored. She looked at Carlos with pleading eyes, but he didn't move. He had a job to do, and grieving would need to wait. Paprika let out one final, lonely noise. Then she was gone. He was in front of the bathroom mirror, staring down at his chest. These freakish things. I think you do Carlos's thoughts.
Oh, God. Okay.
I hate this.
What have I done to my body?
Carlos thought.
I've turned myself into a monster.
He couldn't believe that he could hurt his parents like this. He cursed himself for allowing his stupidity to let him go down his path. His parents were so worried about his immortal soul, and he had to fix this. He grabbed Mom's scissors from the mirror cabinet. The lumps on his chest didn't belong. They were obscene mockeries of the body God had given him. He had to purge them. He took the scissors, pressing them into his skin. Helen's voice cooed. "Good boy. You've got this." Her tender words echoed deep in his ear, sending pleasurable tingles up his body. Carlos pressed harder, letting the blade sink in. Blood dripped down his rib cage and onto the floor. It didn't hurt. He started moving the blade up, deeper into the tumorous lump, and was ready to slice across. "Mija!" Helen was shoved aside as Carmilla ran to her son, pulling the scissors out of his chest. Mason was behind her, eyes wide in horror. They had probably been awoken by the smell of the bonfire. "Mija, what are you doing?"
Fixing my mistake.
Carlos mumbled. To him, his voice sounded like it came from a mile away. It was almost like he was hearing the world through a bubble. He didn't understand why his parents looked so shocked. They wanted this. They wanted him to be normal again. "We're getting you to a hospital." Carmilla wrapped a towel around him, pressing her hand against his chest to stem the bleeding. Mason began guiding Carlos and his towards the front door, but Helen stood in the way. "This is what you wanted, though." Helen's voice was sweet but stern, like she was trying to lecture unruly children. Mason grabbed the rifle from next to Helen. She didn't stop us. "Get the fuck out of our way," he demanded. "You brought me here to fix 'em." Helen's grin grew wider. Carlos watched her lips closely, confused that she seemed to have too many teeth. "He doesn't need fixing. He's as perfect as he is." Carmilla snapped, her voice cracking from the exertion. "Then why do you insist on calling him a he, then?" Helen chuckled. Her flickering eyes settled on blue, very vibrant blue that almost seemed to glow in the darkness. The morning sun was rising slowly behind her, casting her face in darkness. What do you mean we brought you here?" Mason asked. Your desperation was like a beacon for people like me. Helen stepped forward. Mason aimed the rifle at her, but she just walked further, letting the barrel press against her chest. She seemed taller than before. I followed it to shore, ready to do your bidding. You wanted your son back. I'm just providing a service. You're crazy, he snarled, pulling the hammer back. Am I? How about you pull that trigger and test if your hypothesis is true? Helen chuckled. She reached out to him. Her arm was too long, her fingers stretched out like twigs on a tree branch. Her nails caressed the barrel, beckoning him to shoot. The shot echoed through the house. Carmilla gasped. She was shaking as she held on to her son, trying desperately to keep pressure on his wound. Helen stood there, hole in her chest. Thick, black ichor drifting gooey chunks down her and onto the floor. Her hideous smile grew wider and wider, going literally from ear to ear. Mason's eyes widened and he fired again, this time at her head. Helen's face caved in, her eyes exploding as the back of her head painted the door. Her hair slid off her, exposing her blackened skull. Her tongue hung uselessly out of her destroyed cheek. Tut, tut. Helen's voice echoed throughout the house, like she had become one with it. The inky ichor all around them began to squirm, making sickening squelching noises that made Carmilla tense. Diabla! She let out a trembling gasp. What do you want? I want what you want. To fix your boy. Helen chuckled, brushing past the rifle like it was a curtain and closing the distance between her and the weapon's wielder. And what if we changed our mind? Mason asked. His words quivered with fear, but he stood defiant. A strange, multi-layered clicking noise escaped Helen's gaping throat wound. She was displeased. Her hand twitched and fingers curling as if to make a fist. A glob of black blood was inching towards Carlos, reaching out with little pseudopods. Then Helen relaxed and tilted her ruined head. Then Charlie would have died for nothing. Helen caressed Dad's cheek. But perhaps if you want me to stop, we might be able to come to some kind of arrangement. Slowly, the ichor stretched over the door, blocking out the light. Glowing eyes appeared in the shadow, glowing a vibrant blue. The world came to me. My chest burned with pain, but that pain was nothing. Even the worst injuries I had ever felt or could imagine were nothing compared to the overwhelming emptiness that overtook me. The void in my heart forced me to my knees as Mom's screeching sobs echoed through the room. Helen had vanished. The evil had left our lives, but she wasn't the only one gone. An agonized scream ripped itself from my throat as I cried harder than I had ever. Dad lay on the ground, his eyes milky. Green, viscous fluid dripped down his cheek. He was cold, so very cold. Mason was gone. My father was dead. Holy fucking shit!
Man, that, wow. Wow. Wow.
So yeah, Helen is the very personalization of transphobia.
So Helen is the white guy that we saw lurking in the woods, possibly.
Yeah.
Helen is the devil. What I will say is that what I really, really latched onto is that I think the reason why Helen chose the appearance that she did, right? And Mason even says this, Helen chose that because Helen was trying to be the right woman. Like, once you meet the right girl, everything will change. Helen is the right woman. She is perfectly, well, she's not perfectly feminine. I think that Helen, in her abstract way of being a devil, is trying to imagine what this perfect woman would look like and doesn't actually understand what femininity is. I wouldn't even call Helen a woman. I'd say Helen is an it, right? So
Yeah.
in performing like this perfect woman, you get the impossible to meet Barbie looking body and the blonde hair and the bright, hard to see blue eyes and like massive chest and she's perfect and she's sensuous and she's all that, but she's not really real, right? Both in terms of she's actually a devil, but also in the terms of everybody thinks that she's had a ton of surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damn, Helen is transphobia. Well, you did a killer job with Helen. I appreciate. Yeah, great job, Tina the Rose. Wow,
Yeah,
just
holy shit.
we still got one more thing, but like just wow. What a good fucking. They better accept, after all this, they better fucking accept Carla for the beautiful woman that she is. I can't believe that Carla was done. Fuck, like, oh god, that's so hard. That's so rough. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I feel like it's basically a metaphor for how transphobia fucking ruins everything.
Yeah.
It ruins your relationship with your parents. It is so unnatural that it destroys everything around you.
Well, I almost kind of liked the like the sensuous aspect more after that, like with that angle that you're presenting of it being transphobia, because it's like you said it earlier with like this toxic positivity thing, but it's like it it refuses to shut up. Helen just gets away with everything. And even then, looking back at previous lines, if you view it as the lens of transphobia, like, oh, you were meant to keep Helen company, it's almost like, well, you're meant to just accept that this is a part of our house, that this is a part of our lives, because, like, we can't move on. We refuse to change. And it's like, okay, well, you should change, because being like, you should kick Helen out, because look at what Helen and transphobia is doing to Carla. Like, it's destroying her life. Carla ended up self-harming and, like, nearly cutting off a tit because of
Yeah.
this. Holy fuck. Yeah, that was a killer penultimate chapter. We only got one more, actually.
I also, like, before we get back into it, oh my god, just like, also let's go back through the lens of, like, Helen is transphobia. Let's go back to how she managed to get the police to fuck off. Like, the amount of trans people who get victimized, and they aren't believed, because it's like, oh, like think back to that fight with Paul and Paul and Carla back in the store when she was like, and the camera shows I'm right, but everyone's looking at me like I'm a monster. So no one's going to believe me. And of course, you try to report transphobia itself, she's great friends with the law.
Fuck, this is brutal. God damn, this is a great story. Wow.
And
Wow.
I think
We're gonna talk more. We're gonna talk more about it once we're done. But we got 3 pages left.
yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
I do want to also make a comment. What do we think
Yeah.
about Mason dying?
Uh, I think this falls accidentally. I have a friend. She might be watching this. Hi, if you are, you know who you are. She has a character in her world that I notoriously hate because it falls into the trope of the abusive, or at the very least distant father loved the kid all along, so it almost validates their abuse. And to me, I don't love this Mason dying because it's like, well, see, but he loved Carla. Like, he died so that Carla could be, like, that is a form of acceptance. And on the one hand, I do see that. On the other hand, that doesn't change the fact that for the vast majority of the story, Mason was transphobic and was actively making Carla suffer because he couldn't accept that Carla was Carla now. And it's like, you look at what Carla does, even the name Carla. Carla says it. It's just a feminized version of Carlos. It's like an acquisition. See, I'm not changing this much about me. See, I'm only changing this. And that's where I think I don't totally love the Mason dying thing, because it's like, oh, well, see, Mason died for Carla. But it's also like, as a parent, you should die for, like, I feel like that's what a parent should do. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta protect your fucking kid. and you caused this. So, yeah, that's my thought. What about you? What do you think about it?
So I see it with like I'm putting the same puzzle pieces together, but I'm putting it and seeing it in a totally different perspective. So the way I see it is not that he died because he loves Carla and you know that redeems him. What I think this is supposed to be is he died and so it was him that died and not the mom because the mom we can get somewhere with the mom. With dad,
Mm.
there was no getting anywhere with him. The only way that she could have peace with her relationship with her father is when he's gone.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like
Here, what? I
and
think
what
that we'll
if we
get more
changed our
from the
mind?
epilogue. I think we'll get more from the epilogue,
Yeah, but and
just to
also
see how.
I'd also like to
Yeah.
note Mason was gone. It's
Yeah.
Mason first and then my father.
Yeah. That. Oh fuck.
So yeah, I
All
think
right.
that yeah, because he couldn't accept, that's why he died.
I just I don't know. We'll talk more about it in a bit. Here. Okay. Epilogue. 5 years later. Years passed since that day. When Emily and a few of her friends moved off campus to an apartment near the college, I was able to move in with her. I took Cinder with me. Her symptoms cleared up as soon as Helen left. I didn't talk to her for years after. If the Helen thing is to be believed, Mom and Dad's summoning of her was unintentional. However, like Lewis Lawton dropping his screwdriver, the consequences were dire. Dad lost his life, and Paul was irrecoverably changed by the experience. He was eventually able to get out of prison, but he was different. His eyes sunken in like two bottomless pits. He was hollow, going on through life on autopilot. I know Mom didn't intend this to happen, but the lasting effects of her actions. I don't know. It's difficult to look her in the eye. Normally, when friends go to Vegas, it's to watch shows and gamble and drink and do things you'll simultaneously remember fondly and regret immensely. Not Emily and I, though. We went to see Helen, the real Helen. I'm not sure why I needed to see her. Maybe it was for some sense of closure. We saw her during one of her stand up comedy shows. She looked like the woman of my nightmares, but she was very different. For starters, she actually looked like she could have gone to school with my mother. While her hair was bright blonde, it had a bit of a natural dullness to it that comes with age. She was chubbier and wore flannels and jeans on stage. Helen was hilarious. She had a southern drawl, same as the Helen thing, but hers was much less flamboyant and more natural. She told a few funny stories, one of which we figured included Mom, though Helen changed the name to Gabby. She was still married to the magician and made a few jokes about what it was like to be his assistant. Emily bought backstage tickets so we could meet her after the show. When she and I saw Helen up close, her eyes were green. Just green. At first, she thought we were just fans. However, when I started using Carmilla and Mason's real names, her face lit up. She started asking question after question, some of which I didn't have the heart to answer. She was horrified when she heard my dad passed. The coroner didn't know how he died. His best guess was an aneurysm, which was what was put on the death certificate. So that's what I told Helen. Part of me was tempted to tell her about the Helen thing. Another part didn't want to burden her with such a thing. She seemed to be having a good life. I didn't want to ruin it for her. One good thing about talking to her was that I realized after the fact that I felt nothing for Helen. No lust, no dread, no hunger, nothing. She was just a woman. In a sense that almost made the Helen thing less human to me. Of course, Emily and I did all the crazy stuff one would expect of a Vegas trip. We saw the sights, gambled, and got blind, stinking drunk. I had to pick up Emily from jail after she started a bar fight. Shortly after Emily graduated from college, she got a job offer from the animal shelter Mom worked at. Emily sat me down and asked how I felt about the two of us moving back there. She was apparently against the idea of her leaving me alone after what happened with Helen. I couldn't blame her, honestly. She was also worried about how I would feel being near my mom again. Honestly, I was angry, but enough time had passed that I was willing to talk to her again. I agreed, and we decided to move in with her dad, who was happy to have people help him with his farm again. I was just glad to be leaving Austin. Emily's roommates were fine, but it was so loud all of the time. After we got settled in her dad's place, we headed over to my childhood home. When I saw that red mailbox again, waves of nostalgia washed over me. As we pulled into the driveway, and Cinder began pacing in the back seat excitedly. The crops were gone. Without Dad and I, Mom clearly couldn't handle them and keep her job at the farm. We parked at the front of the house and Mom stepped out. She looked older now, like a heavy weight hung from her heart. Dark, heavy bags dangled under her eyes, but surprisingly, those eyes were bright. A smile spread across her lips as I got out of the truck. "Hola, Mommy," I said.
Hola, Carla.
Mom replied, a tear of joy beginning to well up in her eye. She came over, looking me up and down. I was wearing a blue dress similar to the first one I ever wore as a child.
You look beautiful.
It was surprising to hear her use my real name, but I guess a lot changed in 5 years. I hugged her, and we went inside. Over tea, we told Mom what Emily and I had been up to while in Austin. Mom was surprised when she heard we met the real Helen. She looked down at her drink, shame in every wrinkle of her face.
Puta madre. I should have known that wasn't her. I'm so sorry.
"I'm not gonna blame you for that," I said. "That demon messed with our brains a bunch. I'm certain she did something to you to make you accept her."
I'm not sure she was a demon.
Mom replied.
She came to church with me a couple times and came in contact with holy water.
That was surprising, but hardly the most outlandish thing I've had to deal with during all of this. In days of old, drunken sailors would see the penises of whales and believe they were coming across the mythical kraken. That didn't mean krakens didn't exist, they do. Scientists just call them giant squids, and they take a slightly different form than the stories tell. Perhaps there's something similar with demons. Maybe our ancestors were jumping at shadows and calling them demons, but that doesn't mean demons don't exist. Or maybe I was just making shit up in an attempt to make sense out of an unexplainable situation. Maybe that thing had nothing to do with anything infernal. Maybe what it was goes so far outside my comprehension that I had no hope of knowing the truth. In reality, it didn't matter. She came into our lives and left a mess. That was all that mattered. All that could be done was for me to pick up the pieces, which I had been. Mom leaned forward and placed a hand on my wrist, breaking me out of my train of thought.
Carla, I'm so very sorry about everything Mason and I did.
She said, voice cracking with an effort to hold back tears.
I have no excuse for what we did. Not just for letting our desperation lead that thing into our world, but everything that led up to that. We should have accepted you for who you were. Now it's too late for Mason to do so.
I wasn't sure she deserved a second chance. However, whether she deserved one or not was irrelevant. In spite of everything, I loved her. Her using my name and accepting me as a girl wasn't enough to make up for everything she and Dad put me through. But it was a start.
And that is the end of The Lady in Pink.
Of the Lady in Pink! Lady in Pink!
I really like that ending. You know what? She probably doesn't deserve a second chance, but I love her. And sure, these steps aren't enough to make up for it, but it is a start.
I agree. I enjoy the ending. I don't know how I feel about the 5-year time skip, just because I'm like, I don't think it matters if there was a time skip or not. You know what I mean?
I think it does, because sometimes all it takes is time. Sometimes all it takes is time after something happens that makes you go, huh, maybe I should fix my shit.
You know what? Me and my sister, we actually had a talk about this not too long ago of what would it take for us to never talk to each other again? Because my mom and one of her sisters have not spoken in years now, right? And we're like, what would it take for us to never talk to each other again? And it's like, we genuinely don't have an answer. Like there's nothing that I think could do it, because we love each other, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that angle. I don't know why it was important to establish Helen wasn't a demon. I thought Helen looked pretty demonic to me, but I also agree. Like, what does holy water really do? I don't know.
I think the importance of
Um,
saying that no, she's not a demon. She can't be defeated by Christianity. I think that goes further into establishing her as transphobia itself. Um, because, of course, transphobia, especially with the religious mother, transphobia wouldn't be affected by holy water. Transphobia is something that is so wholly human.
hmm. All right, I can see that. I can see that. All right. I really liked this story. You know what I mean? I think I really enjoyed it. 11 parts, nothing too long, nothing too crazy. It was only 55 pages.
Yeah, it
That's not
was.
long at all.
But my
That's not
goodness, the
long at
ride it
all.
took us on.
It took us on. It took it. We were brought along for the ride. And this was great. This is my first like real thick story, and I'm glad that I did this with you. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Um,
I am so glad that we had that scheduling accident that led to this.
like it was good. It was definitely very good. There was a few things that I didn't like about it, and then as for my ending thoughts on Helen, I can see why it was done the way that it was. I respect it. I think that Tina the Rose is a great writer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, my goodness. My goodness.
Mm.
Um yeah, the amount of realness and honesty makes the horror so much more horrifying. Like I was genuinely scared at moments through this. Like when I was joking like I'm so fucking scared right now. No, I wasn't just making a goof. I wasn't just being silly. No, I was
Yeah.
actually scared.
The horror in this does not come from ooh, Helen is so it comes from Jesus fuck. This
She's
is uncomfortable to
Carla's
sit through.
alone.
Yeah, when Carl was alone with Helen, and Helen's at the fucking door going like, "Let me in! What? Get away from her! Get away from Carla, you evil cunt!" Oh my god.
Yeah, I really liked. I liked being able. Like there are certain points where I'm like, maybe I jumped the gun at wanting to voice Helen, but then we get to
I would have. Yeah,
then we
Helen
get
was
to
a
that
fun
part, and
voice
I'm
to
like,
do.
okay, this is a really fun role to voice act. Like that ferocity, like that was really fun.
Hmm. Overall, that was just great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got nothing.
holy
I got
shit.
nothing against it. I think it was a great story. I think that people should read it for themselves. Do your own voices. I really enjoyed voicing Carla. That was great.
Yeah.
Um, in
God,
my
and I
mind,
love
I have an
Charlie.
image. Oh, Charlie was fun too,
Which, by the
and
way, let's
I
talk
do
about her death.
exist.
Let's talk about her death with the lens of the blonde lady made me do it.
See, but that's one of the parts where I don't really get. So if you have an explanation for that, like within, because this is your interpretation of it. I'm a much more literal person. Like if you present something to me, I'm going to take it as this is what you are presenting it as. Obviously, like metaphors and stuff. But Helen's hard because she is both. I think could be a metaphor for transphobia, like you said. I think that you're got a really good idea there. But also, Helen is also a monster. You know what I mean? So I'm viewing it through the monster. What is the purpose of killing Charlie?
So, first, let's go. So, Carla's mentioned how she's been on estrogen since 13. And we also know Charlie was the reason that Carla got that estrogen.
Yeah.
And Paul, very notably, transphobic. You know, he was trying to work on himself, but he still had a long, long way to go. And so then we get transphobia into the mix. And transphobia made him kill this woman who was a very strong ally to this trans woman.
Mm,
It's also a metaphor, I think, for people slashing trans healthcare.
mm, mm. I like the metaphor angle. I like that. I like that last bit that you said. That I think is good. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
No, you're smart.
it's thank you. I have an English degree.
Yay.
But yeah, like Paul is very much he is the person who is voting for transphobic Republican or transphobic senators, governors, whoever, um, because he doesn't understand that people being trans is none of his fucking business. He sees it as a threat, and so he wants to cut down anything that could make a trans person's life livable and good.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Even if that healthcare also helps him, like the buy one get one jerky moment that I had previously known being like, hey, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, he partakes in this healthcare, but because it's being used for Carla, he can't have it. That needs to be shut down.
I I think that I think that this was just a great. This was a very great story. You know what I mean? I think that we both got pretty into it. Um, what do you think the purpose of meeting the real Helen was then? Through this viewing it through a transphobia label. What do you think that was?
So, Helen, like the not Helen, is transphobia. It is this perfect femininity, right? And I think it's showing that this perfect woman was absolutely fucking impossible. Uh, like
Mm.
one thing a lot of people learned over like the pandemic, and why there's a whole influx of, maybe I'm not as cis as I thought I was, is because a lot of people didn't have to go out there and perform gender. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what Helen's been doing the not Helen was doing the whole time. She was performing gender. She was always in pink. She always had makeup on. She had like the murder husband robe, which I so want desperately. Um, like she is everything a woman needs to be. And she is based on a model that doesn't even fucking exist.
Mm.
Like the real Helen actually wears flannel and jeans. Helen's hair isn't perfect. Her accent is more natural. Um like Helen, the real Helen, the actual performer is just a
Mm-hmm.
fucking human.
Mm.
Meanwhile, the not Helen is this absolute perfect woman that no one can attain to and is so fucking performative that it barely even matches up with the real Helen. And I think showing that even the thing that modeled itself after Helen didn't think Helen was enough of a woman.
Mm. That's a good interpretation. I like that.
Yeah, I love
I
this.
Yeah, great story. Please go read it for yourself, gang.
And everything else Tina writes, because holy shit.
Trans rights,
Trans
everybody.
rights are human
Please, oh
rights.
my,
I will die on that hill.
yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. And we will be
Thank you
back
guys.
to our once every 2 weeks after this.
Love you guys. Bye. Yeah, next we are doing every 2 weeks. Well, I'm not doing every 2 weeks. That's up to the people who actually do more work than I do.
Yeah,
But thank you guys for watching. Please go upvote all these parts to the story. Please and thank you. Like, just give it a lot of praise because it deserves a lot of praise.
absolutely. And
Um,
I am going to go scream about this to Tina. Holy shit.
All right.
All right. Have a
Okay,
lovely day
perfect.
and goodbye.
Bye, guys. Bye.